This message comes from Capital One. The Capital One Venture X business card earns unlimited double miles on every purchase. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/VentureXBusiness.
Hello, hello. I'm Brittany Luce, and you're listening to It's Been a Minute from NPR, a show about what's going on in culture and why it doesn't happen by accident. This week, we're connecting the dots between demons, daisies, and dreary vibes. I know. How are all of these things connected? Well, we're going to find out with NPR music host and pop culture happy hour co-host, Stephen Thompson.
Brittany, it is so great to be here.
I am so pumped to talk about what we're going to talk about today, okay? It's funny that I say that I'm pumped to talk about it when it's like also grave disappointment.
For me, like fun and grave disappointment always go hand in hand.
Hand in hand. There you go. Well, we are here to discuss one of my biggest disappointments of the year, to be frank. In my opinion, there has not been a single song of the summer.
Yes, the only thing that has gone wrong in 2025.
I gotta say, in my opinion, there is not a single popular, collective, more widespread song of the summer, which disappoints me because I really like the kind of ubiquitous, fun, vibey summer banger that all of us can share in and turn up. So today, we're going to discuss what was on the charts this summer instead, and how our musical landscape changed to make this quintessential bop so elusive in 2025.
I think it's worth noting that there are always asterisks. There were songs that were on top of the Billboard charts that were enormously popular in the summertime, and that by the letter of the law qualify as the song of the summer. And we're talking here, of course, the first song that comes up is Ordinary by Alex Warren.
That is a song I thought that I hadn't heard when someone mentioned it to me. I thought I had never heard it.
Kind of since this song emerged in spring as a serious contender for the top of the charts, I've been sort of trying to pick it apart and try to describe exactly the formula for this song and kind of why it works so well with audiences. And it's like that kind of Coldplay style, let's hear it from the choir. It's got a little bit of the hookiness of an Imagine Dragons.
Yes, very similar to that, yeah.
It's definitely a wedding song. It is definitely one of those songs that's going to be tied to a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
It has this kind of big, blooming sense of uplift. So when we say, it's not really a song of the summer, letter of the law, it is. It's the most popular song of the summer. But when you and I, Brittany, talk about songs of the summer, and particularly when we talk about, for example, the summer of 2024, we could just list off banger after banger after banger. We could talk about a bar song, Tipsy by Shabuzi.
We could talk about They Not Like Us.
Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
The entirety of Brat by Charlie XCX. There are a lot of different songs that feel like the kind of ubiquitous summer jams that people talk about when they talk about songs of the summer. Your Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah.
These big, frothy, very catchy, very summery, very beachy songs.
Yeah, but also culturally inescapable.
Right. One conversation that I've had with people a lot about the song Ordinary by Alex Warren is how many people don't think they've heard it.
Wait, so this is not just a me thing?
It's not just a you thing. This is true of many of my friends, and you would never have had that experience in, say, 2012 with Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier, or Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen, or We Are Young by Fun.
Yes.
These songs that come to define the summertime, we haven't had that as much in 2025. But when you talk about what is on the top 10, it is a combination of songs like Ordinary by Alex Warren, several songs by Morgan Wallen.
Yes.
Kind of headlined by the song What I Want, which is Morgan Wallen featuring Tate McRae.
I said, baby, you should know that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want.
It's a country song. It's got a kind of a trap beat. Morgan Wallen has been part of the Song of the Summer conversation the previous several summers. Last year he had the song I Had Some Help, which was his collaboration with Post Malone. That was totally a Song of the Summer song. In 2023, he had the song Last Night. That was number 1 for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
But the songs on his new album are a little bit low energy. They don't necessarily have that frothy pop banger quality that we're talking about with something like an Espresso.
What you're saying, that also reminds me of like Justin Bieber's most recent album.
Yes.
There were some songs in there that I definitely liked.
Daisies is a very good song.
Counting the days, how many days till I can see you again? Oh, kisses like...
I think Daisies is okay. I like UConn. I think that song is great. But I know it was received pretty warmly.
Yeah.
But it also feels like the cultural moment around it kind of came and went because all the songs are a little bit on the lower energy side. But to your point, they don't have that inescapable quality of like, I remember when, Fun, We Are Young. Like that wasn't a favorite song for me, but I know that song was inescapable. To me, a Song of the Summer is something that is true whether you like it or not, if that makes sense. It doesn't matter if it's your genre. It doesn't matter if you like the artist. It's undeniable. And I haven't felt an undeniable song.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we're kind of dancing around it because we're talking about songs that are on the top of the charts. We're talking about songs that, are the biggest hits of the summer of 2025. But we're kind of sitting here talking about, that thing where it's like with the Supreme Court and pornography, where the Supreme Court justice said, well, I know it when I see it. And I feel like part of what we're talking about when we're talking about the song of the summer is these are hits, but they're not songs of the summer because I know it and I don't see it. I do want to throw out an example of a big hit from this summer that does feel like a song of the summer, and that is the song Love Me Not by Raven Lenae.
And oh, it's hard to say, but I wish you were right here. Oh, it's hard to leave you.
Now, I've been a Raven Lenae fan for like 10 years, so I'm
Yes.
like, thank you, girl. I'm so happy for you.
She has been bubbling up for years and years. People have wanted her to have like a massive pop hit.
Yeah.
Now she has one, and to me, this song does check a lot of the Song of the Summer boxes. I have heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
It has kind of a throwbacky 90s and aughts R&B feel. It blew up on TikTok last year, so it's had kind of a long runway to ubiquity. But when you're talking about what is filling out the top 10, I don't think we can have a conversation about the Billboard charts and the Song of the Summer without acknowledging the fact that songs stick around on the Billboard charts in ways that they never have before because of streaming algorithms.
Yes.
Because streaming algorithms are feeding people songs they've already heard, you have this kind of doom loop, which you and I have talked about on this show before, where the songs never really go away because the algorithms think you still want them.
Yes.
And so still in the top 10 right now on the Billboard Hot 100 this week is the song Lose Control by Teddy Swims. And that song has been on the Billboard Hot 100 now for more than 2 years. It cannot possibly still be the song of the summer. It was one of the songs of the summer last summer. It's frankly kind of slow. Shabuzi's song, A Bar Song Tipsy, drops out of the top 10. But that song has still been in the top 10 all summer in 2025. And so we just never really get rid of these songs the way we used to.
Coming up, we talk about a chart sensation that has a special nickname in my family. My mom kept referring to it as Kidz Bop, It's the Devil. Stick around.
This message comes from Schwab. Everyone has moments when they could have done better. Same goes for where you invest. Level up and invest smarter with Schwab. Get market insights, education, and human help when you need it. This message comes from Capital One. The Capital One Venture X business card has no preset spending limit, so the card's purchasing power can adapt to meet business needs. Plus, the card earns unlimited double miles on every purchase, so the more a business spends, the more miles earned. And when traveling, the Venture X business card grants access to over 1,000 airport lounges. The Venture X business card. What's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/VentureXBusiness. This message comes from REI Co-op, a summit view, climbing El Cap, a faster mile, or that first 5K. It all starts here with gear, clothing, classes, and advice to get you there, so you can wave to your limits as you pass them by. Visit rei.com or your local REI Co-op. Opt outside.
We also cannot talk about the song of the summer or songs of the summer or the song of the summer that was not without acknowledging the massive popularity of the K-Pop Demon Hunters soundtrack. Yep. For those of you all who don't know what I'm talking about, there's this film on Netflix. I think it's aimed at children.
Oh, I'm 53 years old, and I just watched it for a second time.
I was going to say, I heard about it from grown-ups first. I didn't even know it was for kids until my niece was like so obsessed with it. She wouldn't stop talking about it for days. We were all visiting my parents, and she talked about it for so many days before she finally got my parents to watch, her grandparents to watch, that my mom kept referring to it as Kidz Bop, It's the Devil. It's like, girl, that's not what it's called at all.
No, very different.
I think my mom was projecting because she probably had been listening to days and days of Kidz Bop with my niece at that point. Then I saw the movie and I was like, these songs are phenomenal. Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you, I am probably solely responsible for the reason why 4 of the songs have been in the top 10 because I have been streaming them.
Right. Netflix, kind of as a flex, put K-Pop Demon Hunters, which has been streaming on Netflix, for 2 months, put it out in theaters as in sing-along form at 1,750 theaters across the country. And my neighbor was texting me like, are you coming to this K-Pop Demon Hunters screening? And it's like, to listen to the songs be shrieked by children? No. But, and she kind of reported back, it was this beautiful experience, because you're watching all these kids who are having in many cases, their first kind of intense emotional response to a piece of pop music, to a piece of pop culture. And as a parent, that's always really exciting to watch your kid kind of experience these fresh emotions. And so many kids are having that reaction to this soundtrack. But as you said, Brittany, this is not just a movie for kids. These are not just songs for kids. This is a true pop culture phenomenon. And often, when people say, what's the song of the summer? At this point, I just say it's the K-Pop Demon Hunters soundtrack. It's not just Golden, by the fictional K-pop girl group Huntrix, which is, so currently this week at number 1.
Golden kind of has a little bit of, I don't know, like a not exact. It doesn't sound like a Kelly Clarkson ballad, but when I think back to like the feeling that you have of like,
it's a euphoric anthem.
Yeah, it's like firework. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like those songs. I spent a lot of time as a young woman in her 20s driving around in a Honda from 1990 something. Probably crying, singing those songs, okay? And similarly, Saja Boy's Soda Pop is a song that is like boy band, like I have a crush on you, you're so cute energy that like also does really, really well for songs of summer.
It checks a lot of boy band boxes because it's like frothy, but it is also a song of deep, deep devotion.
You're all I can think of, every drop I drink of, you're my soda pop, my little soda pop.
Now there are 4 songs from the K-Pop Demon Hunters soundtrack simultaneously in the top 10. You have Golden by Huntrix. You have 2 songs by the rival kind of demonic K-pop boy band Saja Boys.
Yeah.
Your Idol and Soda Pop are both now in the top 5. And now this week, Huntrix has another song in the top 10, How It's Done. And so now it is the first soundtrack in the history of the Billboard charts to place 4 songs in the top 10 simultaneously.
But I wonder, like, I understand how these songs got on the charts, but I don't know, what does their broader popularity tell you about our musical landscape right now?
Well, I think one, it's that kids have a lot of power. And kids are kind of the ultimate audience that wants to hear the same song over and over and over again. And so to me, the explosive rise of K-pop Demon Hunters, to me, brings to mind the explosive rise of the movie Encanto, which was, a similarly an animated film that had broad appeal not only to children. Songs within that soundtrack, like We Don't Talk About Bruno, went viral, crashed the pop charts in ways that I think probably the people behind that film didn't necessarily expect it to do, even in their wildest dreams. And so part of what it says is that kids have an enormous amount of power. But I think it also speaks to a little bit of a cultural vacuum that has been going on, kind of what we've been talking about overall, which is, where is the joy? Where is the joy on our pop charts? Give me some bangers. And the fact that this movie kind of came out of left field and, kind of organically grew from week to week to week, spread via word of mouth, has kind of given us our song of the summer, whether any of us could have possibly seen it coming back in May, that this would be what we're talking about in a segment like this at the end of the summer of 2025.
You're absolutely right. I don't know. It feels like there's been a real dearth of tentpole releases this summer. Like last year, it felt like songs and artists, like we talked about, like Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, Shabuzi with a Bar song. Billie Eilish's album was doing really well last year. There was Brat Summer. Even I think about earlier this year, like right at the tippy top of January, like Bad Bunny's album was massive.
Absolutely.
I felt like those were missing. Like why aren't we seeing that same kind of output this year?
Well, I think there are a number of factors. One of them is coincidence. One of them is just sort of like Taylor Swift happened to be waiting until October. Maybe she wanted to sit out this summer to finish recording it. Harry Styles has been keeping his powder dry. Beyonce's record came out last year. She's touring this summer. A lot of these major stars who would ordinarily be giving us our song of the summer decided to sit it out for a variety of different reasons. That kind of brat summer of 2024 that gave us song of the summer after song of the summer after song of the summer felt like kind of the run up to like a big pop cultural moment. A lot of pop music seemed to hook into kind of these big, grandiose moments of kind of collective celebration, I guess you could call it, that comes with political rallies. And then in the aftermath of an election, there's a little bit of a hangover, kind of no matter what happens. That feels a little bit like part of what's going on. Maybe it's like we're in an interstitial moment.
Yeah.
But I also want to point out that there have been attempts. This has not been a slow summer when it comes to pop stars releasing albums. Some of them just didn't hit with people. Miley Cyrus put out an album this summer that really did not do very well on the charts, didn't really break through with any major pop hits. But Miley Cyrus, as recently as just a couple years ago, Flowers was one of the biggest songs of the year a couple years ago. But this record wasn't really able to generate that same string of hits. Haim released an album this summer called I Quit. And I kind of speculated when we talked about it on New Music Friday, like this might be I Quit Summer.
Yeah.
This album feels like it's tapping into the zeitgeist. This feels like this is going to be this major record.
Relationships was such a good lead single.
And Relationships, great song.
Relationships, what's all this talk about relationships?
That is a very good album, but that didn't really break through onto like pop radio the way I think some people expected it might. Addison Rae, as an artist who kind of came up via TikTok, has felt like the next big thing. She dropped an album, it hit the Billboard Top 10 and then kind of disappeared. It didn't really have that staying power some people have expected. There have been a bunch of artists who've been percolating in kind of the lower reaches of the top 40 who feel like next big things. Somber, Leon Thomas. Yeah. They have had a lot of chart success, but they haven't necessarily broken into that top echelon of inescapable pop hits that sit in the top 10 for a year. We haven't necessarily had that with them, but it doesn't mean that this music isn't taking off. It doesn't mean that people aren't finding it. It doesn't mean that people don't love it. Honestly, though, The other thing that I would say to people is just like so much music falls through the cracks every single week. I host New Music Friday for All Songs Considered, where I'm highlighting, the best albums that have come out in a given week. There is just an open fire hydrant of music at all times, and we can't possibly hear it all or discover it all. And so I also feel like along the way, there have been these great albums. There have been albums full of bangers that feel like songs of the summer to me.
Stephen, I gotta know, what was your personal song of the summer?
So I'm going to stump for the singer-songwriter Annie DeRusso, who put out this absolutely phenomenal record back in March called Super Pedestrian. And she has a song from that record called Back in Town, which is just like about a crummy boyfriend she keeps hooking up with. This song is so infectious and so joyful.
I hope you don't think I'm just waiting around, but give me a call when you're back in town.
That's just one of my albums of the year, and it's full of big, brash, horny, goofy, like fun, silly, big power pop songs that I feel like would and will attract that audience as people find them. I want to encourage people to do a little bit of digging because there is so much beautiful, fantastic, epic, exciting, catchy, thoughtful, whatever you're looking for in music, it is being generated anew every single day.
Stephen, thank you so much for coming on. I can't think of anybody I wanted to talk about this with more than you.
Brittany, it is a pleasure always. Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Stephen Thompson, NPR music host and co-host of Pop Culture Happy Hour. And I bet some of you are wondering what my song of the summer is. Well, if you're listening on Spotify, vote for what song you think it is in the poll at the bottom of this episode. And then follow me on Instagram. On Monday, I'm going to post a story revealing the correct answer. Oh, and while you're thinking about it, let me know your song of the summer in the comments wherever you're listening. I'll also share my song of the summer and some of your favorites in next Friday's episode. This episode of It's Been a Minute was produced by
Liam McBain.
This episode was edited by
Nina Patak.
Our supervising producer is
Barton Girdwood.
Our executive producer is
Verilyn Williams.
Our VP of programming is
Yolanda Sanguini.
All right, that's all for this episode of It's Been a Minute from NPR. I'm Brittany Luce. Talk soon.
This message comes from Jerry. Many people are overpaying on car insurance. Why? Switching providers can be a pain. Jerry helps make the process painless. Jerry is the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/NPR. This message comes from First Leaf. Summer days hit better when First Leaf takes care of the wine for you. First Leaf's short quiz figures out what you like, then delivers a summer-ready box. Bright whites, smooth reds, and chillable bubbles. No wine aisle guessing, no errands. Just personalized picks shipped to your door. Get your summer sip lineup at tryfirstleaf.com/summertime with promo summertime. Your first 6 bottles are just $44.95 and are matched exactly to your taste. That's tryfirstleaf.com/summertime with promo summertime.